Hello and welcome back to another episode of Only a Bag, an Italy travel podcast. I'm Nathaniel Mellor.
And I'm Darcy Melton.
And today we're going to be talking about what to wear or not to wear in Italy. This episode is going to be summer edition.
Yeah, because we're in the summer currently.
Well, it doesn't feel like that. If you're in Italy now, you might even know that it actually is incredibly chilly for a summer.
Mm-hmm. Especially where we are in our mountain town. There have been chilly days.
There have been really chilly days. And especially because where we're from in the States, East Coast, heat wave right now.
Massive heat wave.
So it's kind of, everything's flip-flopped for us. But we're going to be talking about what to wear because a couple of you, thank you, first off, thank you, have actually sent in messages asking, and literally like back to back, 3 people in a row, asking, their trips upcoming. Some of you have been kind of curious just specifically, like, what do I wear at this time of month? And some of you have been curious, like, I want to blend in. I don't want to look like a tourist. And I think it's something we briefly talked about, I think, in the over-tourism episode, was like one of the ways to maybe be a better tourist is just kind of blend in, like don't stick out as much because it can kind of reduce that friction. Ooh. And again, this is one of those things I think that for us, it's like this glaring hole. Like, of course, we wear things, we wear clothes, but it's just like, oh, right. You need to know what to wear coming here. So thank you all so much to who did send in those questions.
Yeah, absolutely. You've prompted these episodes.
You've prompted these episodes. So for the next 2 weeks, we'll be doing, this week will be summer and fall, and next week will be winter and spring.
Yeah, and we're breaking up these episodes, you may know, into 30-ish minute segments. We're trying something new for your listening pleasure, but we're also breaking this up by season, obviously, so that if you have a specific season when you know you're going to be visiting, you can be able to reference just one of these episodes rather than having to, fast forward or reverse through any of these episodes.
Which is also to say that there will be some repeated information, like don't wear this thing or you're totally fine wearing this other thing, and we'll repeat it through all the episodes just in case you are not going to go and listen to like spring clothing, but you are going to listen to summer and fall or fall and winter. We just wanted to make sure that everything is cohesive and you're not missing anything by not hearing all 4 episodes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And first, just want to say thank you to everyone who has been leaving reviews, who has been listening, who's been sharing it, who's been listening to all the episodes, even when we break it up into multiple pieces. I don't know if that's more difficult or easier, but we really, really appreciate it. If you'd like to leave us a review, you can do so on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You can also follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Likewise, you can follow us on social media. If you have an Instagram, you can follow us at Only a Bag Podcast. And on Blue Sky, we're at Only a Bag. You can also send us an email, which some of you have done literally for this episode. We are onlyabagpodcast@gmail.com. Last but not least, we have a website, onlyabag.com. You can also send us messages there, and you can look at some of our articles. These will certainly be turned into articles eventually. So if you just want to bookmark something, and then of course, last but not least, which I think I already said that already, but lastest and not leastest is if you'd like to donate, if you'd like to support us and just help out the show, the channel, the podcast, you can do so at Ko-fi, ko-fi.com/onlyabag, where we accept donations. Yeah, they are not, I don't think we're not a 501(c), so you can't put in your taxes.
No, we're just us. And you're helping us buy some new microphones.
Exactly. So without further ado, hopping right into it, what to wear and not to wear in the summer.
Yeah. Should we go over the don't wear these things or do wear the generic ones?
Actually, I like that. Let's start with don't wear. Just okay. Top of the episode.
My number 1, don't wear if you want to blend in athleisure wear.
Yes.
Don't wear anything athleisure.
They say yoga pants,
yoga pants, the sort of like cropped sports bra top. I don't even know what those are called.
I know,
but the cute little sets. They go together that we wear to yoga.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no one wears those here.
Yeah, and I think that's there is, again, I want to actually, it's even maybe put it in right here, is there is just like anything, blue jeans, that was a big thing, right? Obviously, we were not alive for this, but when blue jeans made it to the East from America, obviously a lot of people are like, if you wear blue jeans in Italy, you're going to look like a tourist. Obviously, blue jeans have made it here. They are very tight and very stretchy. And I think with things like this, we're going to say don't wear these things. While it has made it here for sure, it's almost always in reference to social media trends, TikTok trends, Instagram trends, or maybe pop culture trends. There might be young people wearing just a sort of a sports bra and then a jacket over it. It might be a K-pop thing. It might be a, whatever. It might be I say K-pop because I feel like it's like the K-pop Demon Hunters movie is on the top of my mind. We haven't even seen it yet, but I keep seeing references to it.
But we watched the ad last night, and now it's top of mind.
But so I think there's things like that. Like, so I think with young people, we've noticed, like, and I don't know where you all live, dear listeners, but one big thing we've noticed here is a resurgence in the 90s clothing culture.
For sure.
Which it's like the really awful, like gas station sunglasses, like the really bad cheap plastic ones, or the really baggy jeans, or Thrasher has made a huge comeback, the skateboarding brand. There's kind of like, it's almost like grunge, but really curated grunge, if that makes sense. So I say that, so when we say like don't wear graphic tees, which will be coming up in literally a second, and you see them here, it's almost always going to be like a streetwear type item or something that has entered pop culture. It's not necessary, and it might like also leave in a few years.
Exactly.
Because it used to be, I mean, like, I think you and I were, I don't know, hipsters was a big thing. It was like shaving the sides of your head and having a beard and wearing flannel and whatever it was. So I think these things just changed. So I think eventually it will change again. But I only will say this because when you say like no athleisure wear, no like crop sort of bra, what are they called? Like not bra,
like a sports bra.
A sports bra, I guess. Is that what it is?
I don't know
Tank
what
top?
they're called.
It's just like you might see that for sure, especially in the summer. But it's usually the very specific group of people, like young people who are online, who are kind of locked into the trends, basically.
Yeah.
I think, but yeah, athleisure wear in general, not leggings, but yoga pants, or never. Not even for trends. I've never seen that.
Like leggings by themselves as pants or yoga pants. People don't really wear those out and about. Certainly, if you go to a yoga class, people might wear those, but also it's kind of just as likely that they'll be wearing, I don't know, looser pants.
Exactly. Like, yeah.
That sort of fraction of fashion just doesn't really exist here.
It really,
so much.
But even like sometimes exercising, like most people exercise like in like basketball shorts and a t-shirt. So if you see somebody in like jogging gear, is always like, oh, they like invested in this thing that like other people are just like, I mean, I have a pair of shorts lying around, I could just use those. So it's a very different sort of feeling. But I think athleisure is definitely up there. Graphic tees, as I mentioned, it's honestly very, very rare to see anybody in a graphic t-shirt. Again, not never, but very, very rare. So if you happen to be like, oh, I just only wear graphic tees, that is a sign that you might be a tourist. And these are very, very specifically, again, I probably should have said at the top of the episode, the next episode will work out the kinks. But it's that these are to blend in.
Right.
You can wear whatever you like if you're coming on vacation.
Thank you. We're not passing judgments on what you wear. You should absolutely wear what makes you feel comfortable and confident.
Yes.
Wear what you want. But if you, like Nathaniel said, if you want to blend in a little more, these are some tips.
And it's also mostly too, it's to not, like basically you don't have to go out and buy a new wardrobe. So if you're like, all I own is graphic tees and like yoga pants, it's like, you're fine. Just wear the graphic tees and yoga pants. You'll be fine.
You found out, Nathaniel, on the internet recently, you told me off mic this morning, that there's some group of people, not group, it's not like there's a cabal of people.
I love that, yeah.
But there are people who suggest that when you go on vacation, in order to blend in, you should buy a whole new wardrobe.
Yeah, I think, and honestly, part of it is, and this is my tinfoil hat thing, because TikTok has already had this, I think, and it's newish to Instagram. I say newish in the last few years, where you can affiliate link different products. So you can be like, oh, do you like what I'm wearing? Check out the link in the description. You can buy it.
Right.
So my assumption is that it's a way for people to be like, whatever you own is not good enough for your vacation.
So give me money.
I think that's genuinely it. Like, I know that we use affiliate links as well, as we've mentioned before in episodes and stuff. It's, it's how a lot of these blogs, podcasts, things like that, like support themselves. But there's also a sort of like the negative side, which is the constantly telling you like, well, you don't need that, you need this. Right.
Tearing someone down in order to make money off of them is never
healthy. Yeah. No, and I think so so I read this like what am I talking about? Substack article. Everything starts with Substack article about how like, and she was like, don't buy new things. You literally own what you need. You're fine. And it says, and then literally after that is when I started seeing these videos. It was like, I'm like, did I say that out loud? Did I make a mistake of like being near my phone, near the algorithm, and it heard me say, so I kept getting these like, throw everything away and buy these things. So with that being said, yes, you absolutely do not need to change your wardrobe. And these are just suggestions of, if you kind of want to blend in, if you want somebody to first, speak to you in Italian rather than English, for example, or just give you the benefit of the doubt, it helps to sort of blend in. I guess if you're going to the States, maybe wear, I don't know, blue jeans and American Eagle shirt, you'll be fine. Everyone's gonna be like, oh, that person's American. I meant bald eagle shirt, not American. Don't go to American Eagle and buy a shirt. I meant like
Oh,
wear a
I
shirt with
thought
a
you meant
giant
American Eagle.
bald eagle graphic on it, or like the
And a
wolf
big
howling at the
waving.
moon.
Yeah. Yes.
You know?
I forgot about. A lot of people used to have shirts like
The
that.
wolf howling at the moon one. That was
Yes.
classic. Yeah, it's like
Has that made a
fear the wolf
comeback with the
inside.
90s
I hope so.
fashion?
So that's one thing. If you're in the States, wear that. No one will think you're from anywhere else. So here, don't wear graphic tees. Don't wear athleisure. Those are two big ones, I think. And we're going to tighten this up for the next episodes because we want to put this in every episode because this is year-round stuff.
But two of the big things that I think used to be things that would make you stand out as an American, but now everybody wears them, are white tennis shoes.
Yep.
Lots of people wear white tennis shoes. All kinds of Europeans and people from all over the world wear white tennis shoes, and baseball caps.
Yeah.
That is kind of just a thing a lot of people wear for fashion to look cute in certain, I don't know, circles, but also just as a practical item. So those two things are not things that will make you stand out as an American anymore.
What I was actually, if I may, like even give a little more information specifically on the white shoes, I think like there was definitely a thing of like the New Balance white dad shoes, you know, the classic, like, I'm going to get these bad boys stained with grass from cutting the grass or whatever, you know, that kind of classic, the New Balance dad shoes. There are a lot of them here. Like even Skechers has a huge like footprint, not to make a fun little pun there, in Italy. I mean, a ton of people have Skechers, and I'm like, really Skechers? But also with the baseball caps, it's not just baseball hats, but also the snapbacks. Is that what they're called?
Yeah.
The one, like the flat brim ones with the sort of all the snaps in the back instead of like Velcro, and then also the
it's a
trucker
snapback.
hats that have like the mesh hat, the mesh back. Both of those you can find here. Both of those people wear. I think that people just realize like the dedicated brim is really nice, and it's just become such a part of culture in general, the baseball hat, that it's no longer a sign of oh, that person must be like American.
Right. Absolutely.
I think those are the major. We'll touch on other ones I think as we go through, but those are the big ones we've heard are blue jeans. I just want to mention very quickly, as I kind of briefly touched on before. Yeah, everybody owns a pair of jeans. That's like
Yeah, for sure.
that's
A lot of people
standard.
own sort of generic brand jeans, but also Levi's are popular.
Yeah.
Because I think because they are American and retro, they're pretty popular.
They're very Americana.
Yeah,
like I mean,
exactly.
like the same in the States. I think like vintage Levi's will go for a lot of money. Same thing here. There's definitely a market for anything vintage and like Americana West almost too. Like the sort of like you know, that makes sense. Like the not spelunking for gold. What are you prospecting for gold? There we go. There's kind of this like, you know, I don't know. You got leather jackets and blue jeans and things like that. Cowboys. That's what it is. Right. They don't prospect. So what do you wear in the summer?
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to be breaking this up a bit into like quote unquote like women's wear and men's wear. It's not a judgment on like what you should wear based on who you are. You should, like we said, wear whatever you want, but that tends to be how shops sell things. So we're going to break it down like that. So for women's wear, in general, I love to travel in a dress. I find it incredibly comfortable and very practical. So, but obviously pants are great as well. A bit hot in the summer. So I love sundresses. I will say, so we highly suggest going to markets here. I think we talk about it a lot, going to used markets, thrift markets. It is hard to find a good sundress often. But
agree, yeah.
but they do look very European and Italian in general. So I think sundresses are a great thing to wear, and it's not going to make you stand out.
If I also may add, I'm sorry, you guys can't see me because this is in real life, but I was making a hand gesture if I can add something on, hence the awkward pause, is that in the summer specifically, I think a lot of women tend to like big and boxy is the way to go. It seems to be big, boxy linen. And actually, if I can even say linen is like number one.
Yes.
If you have linen, bring it. If you don't have linen, you'll get someone here maybe. But and it's not like, the reason I mention this is because I think I was talking to your dad, maybe it was somebody, I thought it was your dad, and I was mentioning linen. He's like, yeah, I grew up with linen, but it's impossible to keep it like looking neat. And I think that part of the European thing is it doesn't look like, you're not, I mean, some people starch it and stuff, but not that common. It's like, even like they're even sold like at stores and stuff, like with the ads, it's like the sort of chiseled guy on the boat and he's like wearing a linen shirt.
Yeah, I think there's a difference between like the linen suit.
Yes.
And especially like the late 20th century linen suit look, which was very starched and
like the
pressed.
Cuban
and,
Miami sort of like, I look good.
And you get the crease down the front of the
Yeah,
pants.
yeah.
There's a difference between that and then the sort of loose, like you said, like I'm on the boat and like I'm yachting and it's my linen shirt, which I say yachting. you could wear it on a yacht, but these are remarkably affordable here at Linen
Yes.
Shirts, I think. You can get a new one, I guess I should. I'm like, new to you. It's new. No, recently
new at the
made.
store.
Yeah. For what, about 30 euros?
I mean,
you say?
20 to 30,
30
yeah.
euros. But if you go to used markets, you can find really great linen for, I don't know.
I mean,
like,
1 to 5 euros,
Yeah,
basically.
exactly.
I have like 30 linen shirts, well, not 20 linen shirts, and they all come from the markets because like you go to the market, even if you get 5 shirts and only 2 of them fit really well, that's only like, maybe 10 euros you spent versus one shirt that fits really well that you spent 30 on. But no, so linen at markets, really, really great. But going back to women's dresses, just to kind of loop this in, it is really common especially when it gets hot, especially heat waves. But a lot of women are just like, yeah, it's the big boxy dress time. Everybody has at least one, if not more, cotton or linen. It's kind of like you'll see it, especially like women over a certain age. I think like the sort of the classic nonna, the classic grandmother kind of character to be, like I say as a character because it's kind of more like once you hit a certain age, you're like, I'm wearing a giant dress that just covers everything, but I feel good underneath it because it is.
And that's where I am now.
I have become the Italian grandmother.
Yeah.
But that is, I think, so as you mentioned, the dresses, that's a big one. If you can't, like the sundresses, I mentioned earlier, I was agreeing with you because it's hard to find. Is we went like for almost 2 years, we were in all these markets looking for sundresses. I mean, used, not new. Because new, again, you go to Mango, H&M, whatever
Right.
it is, you'll find sundresses, but like used. And it was like, why are they so hard to find? And then all of a sudden we did, but it was easier to find these big boxy, kind of formless, but really comfortable looking.
Exactly. Super comfortable, super breezy. But especially if you are able to buy one here, like at a used market, and it is linen, it does have a certain sense of elegance as
For
well,
sure.
very often.
Also, I think for women though, there's it's popular now at least, but the wide legged pants,
Yeah.
like the sort of like triple wide leg, like giant legs. I mean, like the waist is a normal size, but it's just really big flared pants that just sort of are super comfortable. Again, I think here it's trying to be elegant, but also trying to just be comfortable. Like I think there's an idea, especially, and I only say that because if we talk like men's clothing, it's like there's still some people wear linen and stuff like that. There's still the idea that you should be in like chinos and a dress shirt, and a lot of men are in chinos and a dress shirt, and I'm like, it's 98 degrees, put on some shorts. Like I am dying looking at you. So there's a difference, I think, where women tend to like dress more for comfort, and then look like still like I want to look good, but I think men are just like, no, we're gonna just. I mean,
Well, I feel like the men's clothes here aren't quite as diverse.
yes, that's a good point.
You don't often see a lot of men wearing, a giant linen muumuu,
That
which is what
honestly,
a lot of women
they
wear.
should.
So I'm like,
because it's
that's what I'd wear,
so comfortable.
no matter who I am. It's most comfortable.
I have the giant linen muumuu house dress thing. It is just when it's like 98 degrees outside. Oh my God, there's nothing better. So that's I think a part of it, because for men, it's, again, if you want to blend in, still dress shirts typically without any patterns on it. A lot of it's like solid color, or sometimes like the stripes, but not like, I think sometimes you'll see like, a lot of thrift stores and stuff in America, I'll see these like really loud patterns, for lack of a better word. And I think there's like this deal like, oh, they're European. I'm like, not, maybe, for sure, maybe, but like, and because I think Italians have this like thing of like, oh, they wear a lot of loud patterns, but I'm like, not really, not the classic. I mean, at least the classic Southern Italian, man will be very much of like, no, it's a light blue shirt, a white shirt, maybe a light gray, something like that. They still have, sometimes the suit jackets on. They'll have the pants on, belt, loafers. If you want to wear loafers, my God, this is loafer country. You're in loafer country, not boat shoes. I'm being very clear, not boat shoes, but loafers. You could velvet if you have velvet. Yeah, bring your velvet loafers. You got. I mean, anything. It's like every man seems to have a pair of loafers in their closet. I've never once owned loafers in my life. I grew up playing soccer, and so all my clothing, my footwear now, I think is like, what if a game of soccer breaks out at any minute? I need to be ready. Obviously, with loafers, that's not a possibility. And so, yeah, if you have like loafers, I think for men, I want to touch on shorts, because that seems kind of like a thing where, oh, Italians don't wear shorts. It's not as elegant. And it might have honestly been true like 10 years ago, but not only are shorts sold, a lot of men will wear shorts in the winter, in the summer. It's a different style. I would say it's almost like the Southern sort of, not to be like, demeaning, but Southern frat boy kind of thing, where it's like there's shorts, shorter, and like linen or something like that. They're like, or
And
chino
fitted.
and fitted. Yeah, there's like, it's not like, I say that because it's like a lot of like when I was growing up, a lot of shorts for men were like knee length or under the knee, And that like
And
clearly
bag gear
and bag gear, and they've kind of gotten like again some of that 90s stuff has definitely come back in style. But here I noticed I'm like, oh, it's all like quite short. I will also throw out there, y'all, if you're coming here and you're like, I want to buy clothes, I want to look good, I want to dress like an Italian while I'm there, I have a 36 and I have a size 36 waist on like a really good day, usually size 38. In the past, it's been 40 on multiple occasions. There are no clothes for me in this country. I love these people, but man, they have like tummies. I have a beautiful dress shirt. It is clearly cut for a man with a tummy because it is tummy.
Yeah.
And I mean, it fits me really well on the shoulders.
It is. It's like it's so fitted, not so fitted. It's fitted perfectly, I should say, in the shoulders and in the chest. It's like not tight, but it
makes me look like I've been working out somehow.
Yeah,
despite the fact
exactly.
I've never once looked
but then
at a
it
gym.
has such a lovely like sort of. I've lost all my sewing terms, even though I
like a little
enjoy
blouse.
sewing. Yeah, but it just like gently slopes into
Yeah.
like tummy room.
Yes.
And you almost wouldn't even notice. I don't really notice it when you wear it, except when you point out every time that you wear it that it has extra tummy room.
Well, I like it because I think a lot of shirts tend to kind of go in towards the waist. Like for me, I am one of those guys where that last button's just always a little bit questionable. You know, I'm like, ooh, if I ate an extra pastry today, that last button's not getting buttoned. So I think like it's kind of fun when I have this one. I'm like, oh, I ate a big meal and it still makes me look good. So I will say there's that sort of aspect where, and actually I'm going to talk about that in a second, actually where to get shirts like that if you're curious. But if you are coming, because one idea, and I think you mentioned at the top of the episode, is going to use places, but I think in the past we've recommended this, is if you really want to look Italian, you come here, come to a market, go to these kind of some of these stores in Naples or Rome. It's not, I mean, I don't mean like H&M and stuff. I mean like there's other like kind of, it's clothing that looks good, but it isn't necessarily the best made, if that makes sense. It's not necessarily, it's maybe fast fashion. It's probably a step above fast fashion, but not like, I think like in my mind, Gap in the 90s was like not quite like just before it got fast fashion, where it was like, oh, everybody has like a Gap sweater from the 90s kind of thing. But now you would never have a Gap sweater that lasts more than 2 years before it starts, got a hole in the stitching or something like that. So I feel like it's that like, I think everyone's like, oh, things back then were made better, so it's almost closer to that quality where it's better but not great. However, if you are interested in, you want to come and you want to get something sized, there are a lot of stores that will do you take a shirt or a pair of pants off the rack and they will tailor them for you.
Right, like you buy them, just to be clear, you buy them at that shop and then that shop does the tailoring.
Yes.
It's not like you bring something in.
No,
which
I don't
is
think
just
so.
a tailor.
Which is a tailor, right? Okay,
Yeah,
I was like, I
which
don't think so.
you can do. There are tailors here, but there are shops where you do, they have all the sizes. You pull your size off and then they tailor it so it fits you just kind of perfectly.
And it's usually like sometimes they're on deals. It's usually about $100 a shirt for what it's worth, and that includes the tailoring as well. And they sometimes run deals like 2 for $150 or whatever. But that can be like, I know my brother came here once and couldn't afford to have a suit made, but what he got was the shirt, pants, and jacket off the rack and then tailored to him, and they look great. He used it while I was a flight attendant and they looked amazing. And so that's something, if you're thinking like, I want a souvenir of my time in Italy, I want to look really Italian. I mean, that's definitely the way to do it for,
absolutely.
I mean, I guess I say if you want a suit, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like what is like, there's nowhere to get like a dress off the rack and then have it like tailored.
I was just thinking that. I don't think so. Not so much. No. There are some great, obviously, places where you can get dresses and really cool like skirts and things, more feminine clothes. I will say that something that I have noticed, I tend to not be able to afford things that are not fast fashion, and I tend to not buy fast fashion. I just buy like thrifted clothes for the most part. But sometimes, you want to treat yourself. And I will say that in Rome in particular, I want to just put a warning out there that if you want to come and get your own, like get very Italian looking clothes, there are some boutiques that you're going to have to use like your own discretion, like have a look around.
Sure.
Because things can often from the outside at some of these boutiques look really fancy, like they are curated and they look great. But when you actually look at the quality of the clothes, they're not very good, but they cost a lot of money. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I have a few shops in mind where we along this specific street near where we were house sitting at a certain point, and they looked so fancy, and then they'd have like sales and it's like from 250 to 100 euros. And I'm like, well, I still can't afford it, but I'm gonna look at it.
But also, if I'm just interrupting, but even at the same stores that I know you're thinking of, like these boutiques, because you were looking at sandals at one point, which I'll get into in a second, and there was like sale 40 euros per pair of sandals, and then you like from far away, like that looks great. I'm gonna look at these sandals, and we looked at them, and it was like, have these been like out in the rain? Like
yes.
they were all, being sold as brand new, by the way. This is not like they were like, oh, no, it was being sold as new. And part of it is like how sometimes a store will have like the display sandal or display shoe being sold with it. So it's like, okay, it's a little bit, worn looking. And then the one that was in the box the whole time actually looks brand new, but they sell them together because they can't, I guess.
Yeah, that was weird.
And that's something they kind of felt, but I'm like, no, these have just been straight up rained on. Like the leather's coming apart, and it was like people were like actually looking through it. They're like, oh, that could be nice. I'm like, this is not great for 40
Especially
euros.
when in the same city, you can go and get very quality items at a thrift market that are much better condition and much less expensive.
And I think that's the thing, because those boutiques that you talk about, not that we're not like calling them up by name, partly because they're very small, but also partly just because I don't remember the name of them. But no, but it was interesting. There was a definite air of like everything in that store was more than 100 euros, but it was H&M quality.
Right, sure.
It was like, or like drop shipped out of China type of thing. Like it wasn't remotely like, oh, that was actually made well. And we've talked about this before. I'm slipping this in randomly at the middle of the episode, but the whole made in Italy thing can be really dicey. And I say that to like a lot of people in Italy don't necessarily trust made in Italy. It's the fact that when something can be finished in Italy, it gets the made in Italy like tag on it, which just means like they could put a zipper on it and say the entire thing is made in Italy. So that is just to say, if you see a shop that's like it's made in Italy, you're like, oh, this is probably really quality made. It might not be made in Italy, and it might not be quality.
Yeah, this is also a good time to put in that we need to acknowledge that there are people working in garment factories in Italy who are not treated well, who don't have really like, they're not given their proper rights. And we're not going to go into it because I also don't really know that much about it. But because we're talking about clothing and the garment industry, I think it's important to acknowledge that there is human rights abuses in the garment industry here.
Well, and just like it's the classic sweatshops in New York City in the 80s kind of thing, but like 2025 outside of Milan, so it's a little bit, kind of the exact same thing, if that makes sense. It's again, big things where everybody knows what's happening, but nobody can do anything about it, or they doesn't know how to do anything about it. Like just try not to get from, if it feels like it's made in a bad way, don't get it. It's kind of like what a lot of people end up choosing. Which
is another reason we always suggest going to thrifted places, because oftentimes you can get things there that are affordable, but also of good quality and not made in, or are made in an ethical way.
Hopefully.
Yes.
I mean, because obviously there's a lot of stuff.
You can't always tell.
There's a lot of Shein stuff and whatever it is, and H&M and other stuff like that. Lastly, on a very different note, shoes, footwear in the summer. I did want to touch on it briefly. Flip-flops are not as, you mentioned this earlier today off mic, but flip-flops are kind of worn, much more beachwear, basically.
Yes.
I would almost say they are more beachwear than anything else. I always feel like I wear flip-flops. They're from my Italian store, but I very much feel like a tourist when I have flip-flops on. It seems like most people here use the Birkenstock classic, like Arizona, is that they're called? The slide-on Birkenstocks. I think Arizona's the
I do not know the specific name of that style of Birkenstock.
Okay, well,
sorry.
I think it's called it. But there's a lot of those kind of knockoffs as well. You slide your feet into them kind of thing. Or sandals are big, leather sandals. Or I guess like even like you're talking about Tevas as well, the kind of classic two-strap.
Yeah, so I wear Tevas, and I probably look slightly like a dork, but I like to think they're very streetwear.
They look great on you.
Thank you. And I have seen it. There aren't that many people who wear Tevas or that sort of style of sandal, but it's not uncommon among Italian and European people in big cities. And I think they work really well. I love leather sandals. I think they're beautiful. They're not always practical, but they are obviously very Italian looking.
They are, and I think one of the big reasons we don't like, I wear Birkenstocks occasionally, and I really like them. My biggest issue is, we've mentioned especially in the summer, a big part of being like Rome or anywhere else with fountains, like water fountains that have water spewing out, not like in an actual fountain like the Trevi Fountain, is that you can kind of dip your feet, like have them like splash water on your feet, and it really can help cool down, like, especially if you're like, oh, I might be getting heat stroke soon. It can be really nice to just sort of cool off your extremities, hands, feet, neck, things like that. But with Birkenstocks, obviously you can't. You're sort of barefoot in a fountain in the middle of Rome, and that's a different vibe.
Yes.
So it's having sandals that can get wet is really nice.
I think so too.
Sneakers are also fine in the summer, genuinely. I wouldn't necessarily wear like something that's too closed, like something with mesh would be nice. Something like, obviously a lot of sneakers now to have mesh, but like not leather sneakers basically, or anything like that.
They're going to be too hot, and they're not as practical I feel
They're
like
not as practical. And then obviously like boots. Like I don't think ever a time to wear boots in the summer, but you also know that. I mean, that's like a thing, but I say that because some people are like, oh, I have nice boots. I'm like, it's hot here. There's
Yes.
no nice boots that you're going to be wearing. And then I think my own personal note is just never ever bring a pair of shoes or sandals on a trip that you haven't worn before.
Absolutely not.
A trip is not the time to break in a pair of footwear. And so I think that's everything. Oh,
I have
yes.
one more note. Okay.
Yes.
So if you're on social media and you're looking to come to Italy, particularly if you're like me, you might be seeing a lot of, like sponsored ads and things for like big, pretty, like brightly patterned
Oh, sure.
lemon
Yes,
patterned
yes.
outfits and all these things. And they are beautiful. Most Italians don't dress like that though. If you know, if you do
Like
or
the
don't,
Amalfi Coast, Positano,
yes, they're like,
Sorrento kind of thing.
exactly, like bright patterns, like you were saying, loud patterns, patterns on top of patterns.
Lemons all over your clothing.
Exactly. Italians don't dress like that. If you want to dress like that, more power to you. You should. They're super fun, these patterns, but I think there's, at least on social media and in marketing, it's made to look like this is what Italian women look like. It's not.
And actually, if I may, like even almost going a step farther there, it's a broad generalization, but we know a lot of Italians who prefers to only wear black clothing, and or a very like medium gray is like a splash of color for them. And I say this because it's almost like in the summer or the winter, especially when it makes more sense to wear black. I think there's a lot of black pants, black jackets, black whatever. So it's kind of like black shoes. So it becomes more common. But even like a lot of like, they're not Italian footwear companies specific, but European footwear companies that sell in Italy. I'm thinking Camper, things like that that are big here. Black is a really popular color. They almost a lot of their lines come in black, and they might have a couple fun colors, but and I say this too only in sense of like, if you have a lot of black clothing, obviously do not wear black clothing in the summer, you will die here, but that's always a good go-to. But a lot of Italians kind of prefer neutrals or very, very lightly tinted clothing versus, and maybe it's different in North or Milan, something like that, but even in Milan, it was like everybody had like a black or gray trench coat on, and this is the winter, but it was still like, oh, this isn't loud pops of color. It's very muted. It's very understated. It's almost, and I had a great way of saying this, but no, we were talking about food and how like the Italians, it's essentially like the food should speak for itself. So you shouldn't add too much to a tomato because tomato is already a beautiful thing. Like don't over, dress a tomato. And I think it's the same thing a lot with clothing. It's more about the cut of what you're wearing than it is about what's on the fabric. So it's like to make this, this wool really pop, make it fit really well on the person it's on rather than putting some sort of fun pattern on the wool or on the cotton or the linen. So I think it seems like it's really about being understated, but making the cut of the clothing to be the best.
Yeah, absolutely.
That makes sense. So I think that's everything.
Yeah.
All right. And I think the next episode will be slightly shorter once we've learned how to, not stumble through the do's and don'ts as much. So without any more ado, thank you all so much for listening to this episode on what to wear and not to wear in the summer in Italy.
Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you in the next episode. Tanti abbracci.